This is Rockhampton with Nyree Johnson, the show about the people who hold our region together, the volunteers, the founders, the quiet achievers behind our businesses, clubs, charities and not-for-profits. Real stories told plainly from people serving Central Queensland with heart. Here's Nyree.
My guest today runs cattle, drives a school bus and takes the minutes at the P&C meeting, often in the same week. Kristie Lisle is a Central Queensland cattle producer, a parent at Stanwell State School, the secretary of the Stanwell State School P&C Association, and the person behind the wheel of the school bus. So, like many volunteers, she's been volunteering across our region for quite some time and wears lots of different hats, including with the Marlborough Show Society, the CQ Carcass Competition and the Advanced Beef Leaders Program, and now, of course, the Stanwell P&C. And for the past 12 months, and the reason for today's podcast is she has been one of the main organisers of the Stanwell State School 150th celebration, which is coming up very soon. And she's also produced the commemorative booklet that goes with this celebration, which means she's pretty much spent a good chunk of the last year chasing down photos, records and stories from 150 years of a school that sits right in the middle of its community. Kristie, welcome to the show and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, and thanks for having us.
It is such a great achievement and celebration, and I'm really so thankful to be capturing it for you to pop on the podcast Rockhampton with Nyree Johnson. But before we really get stuck into it, I'm curious to know if you could be an expert at anything at all in the world, what would it be and why?
Expert in the world. I suppose within my day-to-day life, I'm a part of a lot of different things, but a lot of the things I'm a part of is to do with a lot with humans or cattle and the thinking side of that. So I suppose if I could have picked something, I'd probably pick knowing why people operate or cattle operate, what the connection is there, because I believe like we do have a lot of connection with thoughts, even with all animals in general. So yeah, I'd just be an overall of why people and animals do things the way they do and why.
Yeah, I like that. Wouldn't it be so helpful for us in everyday life to really understand that why?
Yeah, and just being a cattle producer, like there's so many questions about like beef in general, like we're beef traders. So I suppose just understanding why people eat beef and sometimes why people don't eat beef as well. I think that's extremely important and something that I'd be interested to understand more of.
I like it. It would be helpful. So tell us a little bit about, of course, we're talking about 150 years of Stanwell State School here. And so, of course, the traditional format of a podcast, the questions that I typically ask are going to be a little bit different because we really want to dive into what, in particular, the last 12 months has looked like. But tell us a little bit about your connection to Stanwell and the school, of course. You wear a lot of hats out there. You know, how did you end up with such that spread of roles and what is your connection to the area?
Yeah. So I've been in the area for probably 7 years now. We bought our cattle property that we currently live at here. And we started, I have two small children. So I've got Jack, who is 9, and I've got Ella, who's 6. So when Jack was around 4 or 5, we were trying to decide where he's going to go for school. Because when we were property searching, we were trying to find somewhere that was close to school and education, because that was important part of our next 5 years as such, is that we've got to get our kids to school. So we had the choice of going to Stanwell Westwood. We went to Stanwell because one, it's on the way to Rockhampton, and we started going to their playgroup, and then the local school bus just came up full grab. So we're actually 20 kilometres away from the school one way, and I'm also 10 kilometres to the highway where was the closest bus for our kids to hop on as well. So I just saw the opportunity of, well, I have to go to the school. I have to drive my kids to school instead of wrecking a car. I might as well just try the school bus and see what it's like. And I also get paid a good wage for it as such. So I bought the school bus and I operate the school bus nearly every day, except when we have to go away. I have to organise people. But yeah, so that's how my journey into Stanwell State School started. I just decided to drive the school bus. I drove the school bus for probably 6 months before my son started at Stanwell School. So he started, and now, my daughters followed to go to school there as well. But the P&C was at the point when I like when my son started prep, the PNC was just at a loss of they didn't have anyone to be secretary for the committee. It's a small school, small families. A lot of families couldn't commit to volunteering. So they just literally asked me like the first month of starting school, like my son starting school, they asked me if I could be the secretary for the PNC, and I said, sure, I've been a secretary previously. And yeah, then it just kind of flowed from there.
I love it. I love it. And you've been volunteering across Central Queensland since 2013.
Yep.
You know, what got you started is that you were brought up in a family that actively gave their time to causes?
Yeah, so I grew up in the South Burnett, and I can always remember as a kid, my family was involved in this local show or the local camp draft, or going to bowls for community, going to the pub to support community. So I can remember always growing up, we were a community support, like we always supported the community in different ways because I grew up in a small town as well. And the way my journey started in volunteering as an adult, was in 2013. I was 22, just newly married. I was living near Marlborough on my husband's family property. And it was once again the show committee was at a halt because the older generation was ready to hand over to a younger generation. But at that point, there was no younger generation. So the president of the Marlborough show actually approached me to see if I'd like to come on as secretary. I've never done anything like that before. And I was like, oh, sure, I'll give it a go. And I think I'd done it for 8 years or something. It was a massive job. But I don't know. I like doing it. I think like as a 22-year-old and holding that role, it was good to show that, well, just because you're young, it doesn't mean you can't join any of these committees. Like these committees do need young people, regardless to whether it's a show committee or a PNC. I think it's important for young people to get involved because these committees rely on the next generation to come through. And I think it's really important to have that rollover of the older generation and the younger generation coming through, because at the end of the day, I didn't know everything and anything, but that older generation for the show committee helped us and guided us through, well, this is what has previously done. And this is like just showing us the ropes essentially. And that really helped a lot.
It is. It's very helpful when you have exactly what you've just described, older generation that have had the reins for quite some time. And then it's, they start to look for other people to give that opportunity to. And I don't say that word lightly either, the opportunity. It is an opportunity at 22 to take on a secretary role, something you've never done before, and be guided and supported. And, it's invaluable. And the skills that you learn doing roles like that, you can't get in everyday work life necessarily.
Yeah. And it was like the skills was a lot as well, but it's also the connections. Like I still have connection to these days that I have from when because I was organising a lot of sponsorship. I was organising storeholders, like I was organising a lot. So a lot of those connections that I had at 22 have popped up 15 years later still. So it's interesting how that happened. It's just not the skills, it's the connections. So using those connections that I previously have used for future life. But it's also with the older generation, like when I was in the show committee, there was the Central Queensland Show Society. So that was all the shows within Central Queensland. So I used to attend those meetings and I used to be one of the youngest people there every time. And our committee was always the youngest committee. So I just think that just shows that those committees do need the younger generation as well to go chat with the older generation, because the people within that show society used to help me so much, and the connections I made with them were amazing as well. So I think it's really important.
Absolutely. And a lot of our young people enjoy the shows. They love the shows. They go with their friends as teenagers and as high school students and then young adults. And, then it's a great opportunity to jump in and start being a part of the crew that actually gets it moving. But speaking more specifically about the Stanwell School, been operating since 1876. Now, for people who have never been out to Stanwell, what sort of school is it? Like, what's the look and feel and the culture out there?
I suppose when you say your kids go to Stanwell State School, most people in Rockhampton don't know where that is. So it's actually 20 kilometres west of Rockhampton. And it's only a small town. It has got a fuel station, which is also the post office, and a general grocery shop whenever you need extra milk or cream. It's pretty handy. And then we've just got a hall, a cemetery, and then a school tucked in behind a hill, tucked away. You can't even see it from the highway, and a lot of people would drive past and blink and don't know what's actually there. But I believe when you drive into Stanwell, it's a proper country little school. It's We're like in front of a hill. It's a paddock around surrounding it. We've got some really nice buildings, we've still got one of the original buildings there. And then we've got, which is the administration building. And then we've got 2 classrooms and then a library. And we've also got a playground and a multi-purpose court, which is only just quite recently new. So it is a very small, compact school. At the moment, we're sitting at 36 kids, so which is a pretty good number. And yeah, it's just a good country community feel. So that's how I see it. Because when you're driving, it's very noticeable as you drive into the school.
That's exactly what I would have guessed. I, of course, knew there was a school out there, and I do know where Stanwell is, but have never been to the school. So, thanks for painting that picture. As you've been doing all of this work over the last 12 months to pull together this event that's coming up on the 8th of August.
Yes.
That's right, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Has anything come up that's really surprised you about the school's early days?
I don't know. Nothing really sticks out. I suppose it's just the longevity of some of the families within the community, I suppose. Like we've got quite a lot of generational families that their grandparents have come, their parents have come, and now they've come, and also their kids have come. And we've also got a teacher aide there that has a whole family background as well, and she's still there being a teacher aide to this day. So there's a lot of long-standing staff, students, parents, generational, everything. It's quite interesting to see for such a small community, and even just the reach out that we've had getting closer for like the families and past students. Like I created the book, and it's all based around people's stories. So there is a 125th book that was created, but it was a lot of the history side of things about the school and Stanwell in general, where we wanted to see, as a committee, we wanted to see the booklet show the stories of the people, and it's in decades. So it's the stories of the decades, you could say. It's stories from families previously, student, everyone past, present. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, wonderful. Have you had any of those stories stand out for you, like something that's just stuck with you? And I'm sure there's a lot of incredible stories in there filled with rich history, but is there any one that stands out?
I suppose what would stand out to me is just the passion and love that people have had for the school. Like a lot of the stories at the end are like, thanks to Stanwell, such and such has happened. Like it's a lot of people going back and being like, well, this is Stanwell State School, and the staff and the parents and everyone that attended shaped my life the way it is. I suppose that's how that sticks out for me. But I suppose there's so many great stories. Like it was fun to read, but I really liked looking at the pictures and how I've dedicated pictures to the sports day. Like the sports day, if you I've put it in years, and looking at those sports days from what it was in the 1980s to what it is in 2026. It hasn't the uniforms changed, but the spirit of the Stanwell kids with their flag and cheering, like you can just picture it. That's what that to me that's out of how passionate people are about their previous attendance to the school.
That's wonderful. Now, this event actually started as a bit of a reunion, I believe, but then became much, much bigger. When did you realise it had grown and was turning into a much bigger celebration?
I suppose it started a couple of years ago, where the principal at the time, Vicky Rogers, mentioned that, look, in 3 years' time, we'd be having 150th. And I suppose everyone was like, oh, yeah, no worries. But as time has crept away and got closer, we're just like, gosh, we're definitely having to do this. And then, it's created that culture back again. Like we've got a messenger group with all the previous students, staffs and families that have been brought together by all different people of decades. So which is good, because it's getting people reconnected for the day or before the day, and encouraging people to come to the event, because we can't have this event without the people attending, so which is super important. And I suppose, just getting the word out, and hence why we're doing this podcast, because it's quite important. It's a bit of history in Central Queensland that doesn't always happen, unfortunately. Some small schools do close, which that's one of the facts I've written down. In 1966, the school got down to 9 students and possibly closed. Like that's quite a sad time for a small school, and even to now for our school to celebrate 150, and for you just would hate for it not to see the next 25 years. So I think it's just encouraging everyone to attend and come support a small school that is been running for 150 years.
And so on the 8th of August, this 150 years, like what does this day look like and what time does it start and what should people know if they actually want to come out and have a look at a good old country school town?
Yeah, so the day is being held on Saturday, the 8th of August, and it's commencing at 10 a.m. We're going to have a high tea, which just allows people to sit down and have a good conversation about previous past stories. But we're also going to be burying a time capsule. So we did open the 125th capsule prior to this event just to be able to show the kids that are currently at school. So our school captains were able to dig that capsule up and have a look inside. And we did a recording for that day. So we'll have a recording about what was in that capsule. We'll have what was in that capsule on display. But we'll also have the last 150 years, photos, albums, uniforms, because our uniform has quite changed multiple times over the 150 years. But we'll also have various stalls. Our PNC is holding a canteen, and at the late afternoon, we'll be holding a bar as well. But we'll also be having a kids' corner, so plenty of kids' events, because at the end of the day, this is our school, and it's all about the kids that are currently going and previous kids and kids in the community. And we'll also be having a pet zoo, but we are going to be having an official opening at 1 p.m. So that will have a few speeches and just a reflection of the last 150 years.
Sounds like a jam-packed day. And can people just turn up or do they need to buy a ticket or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a free event. So if people are wanting to come, we are at Stanwell. We're just behind Stanwell. So it's a free event, and we are also having merchandise. So I am wearing one of the fishing shirts for the 150th, and we'll have hats, stubby coolers, cups, pens, and the book as well, which is a massive part.
That book is going to be incredibly rich with stories. I'm really looking forward to having a look at it. So 12 months of planning is a huge commitment. Like it might have been mentioned 3 years ago, but the last 12 months have been a lot for yourself and the other people organising this event. What has that looked like for you week to week?
That's a great question, and I probably shouldn't answer it because it's taken a lot of my time, especially like the book. Like I have had to do a lot of chasing up, following up, just to get, because I wanted people's stories in there. So it was a lot of people chasing up to be able to get their stories in, because I didn't want to have a book that just had basic stories. I wanted as many people as I could. So reaching out to people. As we get closer week to week, I've started a list because it's just a lot of organising, and we don't have a massive committee. We've only got a small committee and everyone's busy, and it's just kind of waiting for the last final bits and pieces. But I suppose, the past 6 months I've committed a lot of time, and the book did consume majority of my time. Yes. And especially like right at the end, because, I knew I was so close to finishing and I just really wanted to see it finished and completed. So it consumed me a lot, but I'm happy with the results.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can imagine, it's hard to pull together an event like this, especially when it's a small team of people, and it's a little bit premature to ask you. So I might follow up after the event what the most rewarding part has been, but I'm guessing it's going to be seeing the kids have fun, connecting with people on the day, and of course having that book pulled together.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm looking forward to is at the 125th, they actually got the oldest student that came on the day and the youngest student to cut the cake. So I'm really looking forward to that, because we know who our youngest student is currently, but seeing an older student, the oldest student from the past 150 years, I reckon is going to be really special. And I suppose I'm just looking forward to being able to give the opportunity for people to reconnect where they probably haven't connected for the last 25 years. So we did, but it's, reconnecting those people that from that 25 years, and even just people that in the last 10 years, like I've been at the school for 6 years or something, I think, but even just people that have previously come that might come to the 150th, I think that would be really special, and just seeing where they are at life, and just meeting the people that have sent through stories to me, because I don't know them. I've emailed them, I've read their story, and I suppose just, connecting to them and just having the passion for the school that I do.
And are you hoping to get a copy of your book, like in the local library, for example? Have you connected with the council at all to have that preserved?
I haven't connected with the council yet, but it's definitely on my list to do. That's something that I would like to do. And depending how many, I think we've got 150 copies and we're willing to print more if required, but What I have found really special with the book, especially the 125th book, the school has had more like leftover copies of the 125th book, and the kids have actually gone back and like they've made a session around learning about the history about the school. So I think that's really special. Each kid has been able to get a 125th book and go through back that history, and they've actually made a timeline in the classroom that will be on display. So I think that's really special as well for the book, where that's where I want the book to end up. Like just families that have one written in it, and maybe students in 25 years look at the book and be like, oh, wow, this is really cool, and inspires them to create a book very similar to ours. They probably don't even have books in 25 years. It's probably a digital book.
No, we'll have books. We must maintain books. What's one thing or a couple of things that would scream success to you for how this day goes? Like, is there something that, you're like, oh, if this happens, it'll be a roaring success, or if this happens, or if this person comes? Have you got anything like that in mind?
I suppose for this event, it's really hard because when it's not a ticketed event and it's not an RSVP event, I've sent RSVPs out to special guests and past principals. So all of our past principals have been invited to do their roll call on the official opening. I suppose, I don't know, just getting the event done. I suppose like we've worked so hard, even as the committee, we've worked so hard for the past 12 months, especially cramming in for the last 6 months. And then now the last couple of weeks of preparation, I suppose we're all just going to look forward to having it done, because I suppose it takes a lot of organising, a lot of thinking to pull this off. Like we've got a lot of moving parts, and just seeing it all come together is going to be pretty special. But I'm really looking forward to the official opening. So we've closed all of our canteens, our merchandise area, like everyone is going to be able to, because I suppose that's another thing with volunteering. When you're volunteering at some of those events, those certain things don't close, so you can actually appreciate the official opening. So we've made the decision to close those, so people can actually take the time to go have a look at the official opening and just have everyone present and just acknowledge that our small school, Stanwell State School, is turning 150.
So if you knew that there was another like small community thinking about doing something similar to what you're doing, what advice would you give? Like if they were thinking about doing it for their school or their club, or, it's a monster effort. I can absolutely see that. But what advice would you give to someone?
I suppose it's the committee behind it. Like I've got some amazing people that are standing side by side me, committing as much time as I am as well. So I think just gathering those people that are willing to celebrate this amazing achievement, because look, everyone's passionate about it, but it's putting that passion to work of getting this day to where it's going to be. And I keep joking, especially as we get closer, you're not going to see me at the 175th or the next 25 years, but I'll probably be around, because it's the passion of celebrating something, a milestone. I suppose like people celebrate their birthday every single year. Well, this is only coming around every 25 years, so we need to celebrate it. And even for any other clubs, it's a good time for people to reconnect. And that's what I'm passionate about, of people just reconnecting and seeing the day. Like that's, I remember for the show, it was always like, it's always such a massive lead up to it, but it's always seeing the end product and seeing it finished and be like, wow, that came off pretty smoothly considering how much stress has been put into it. So, and just making lists and making sure, designating jobs to people. I'm not very good at that. But sometimes you have to let go and allow other people to do stuff and just offloading. But the committee, this event wouldn't be to where it is today without the committee behind. Like I know I'm the person speaking on the podcast today, but it's the committee behind it as well, which is massive.
Yes, absolutely. There's definitely not one person can pull off an event like this.
No.
But yes, it should be really, really good. You guys have put so much effort and thought and care into it. So with the day starting at 10 and the high tea available, kids corner, different things to look at and see, and then the official opening ceremony at 1 p.m. What time does the day finish?
We've got a time finishing at 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
and people can come out and have a look at any time between that 10 and 5?
So the school will be open from 10 till 5. The stall holders, the canteen. In the afternoon, the bar will be available. But yeah,
Mhm.
it'll be available to everyone all day.
Mm. And with the opening ceremony at 1 p.m, how long do you expect that to go for? And should people bring chairs or will there be chairs? So I'm just thinking if there's older people out there that would like to come along, is there somewhere they could sit while they watch that?
Yep. So the official ceremony, well, in my head, I've got it for maybe an hour, depending
Mhm.
how long people speak for their speeches, I suppose, as well, and how long the roll call is going to be, because the roll call will definitely be determined what students arrive, and we're also going to be taking photos of those students of the decade as well. So say if a student went to school at 1960s, well, the roll call will have been done and then a photo will be taken afterwards. But no, plenty of chairs will be available to sit on and a big open area. So we're having it at a ball wall, which is got a memorial on it dedicated to when the Kalapa State School and Stanwell School joined. So the Kalapa School closed down and all the kids came, and staff members also came up to Stanwell. So it will be in front of there and open spaces.
Lovely. And so 10 o'clock, high tea, 1 o'clock opening ceremony. Once that's closed, the stalls will open back up again. So the merchandise, the canteen and the bar. And it sounds like a fantastic day.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day.
Is there anyone else you want to say thank you to that might have helped contribute to this? There's probably far too many people to list, actually. You'd probably be at risk of missing someone. But I want to say congratulations, and the event hasn't even happened yet. I know what goes into something like this. But is there anyone else you'd like to shout out or mention?
I suppose it will just be all of our sponsors. Like, we've got quite a few sponsors, a lot to list.
That's really good that you've got so many sponsors.
Yeah, so a shout out to all of our sponsors, because this event wouldn't be able to go ahead without our sponsors. So our gold sponsors are Horizon, Dave Bailey Mobile Repairs, Edmund Transport, Farm and Garden Products, Hanrahan's Pastoral Company, Nuttleworth Co., who's allowed us to have all the amazing merch, including our fishing shirts, Nutrien, Parker Helicopters, Ultra NDT, and the Stanwell Power Station, who is always committed a lot of time to helping out at the school. But we've also got our silver sponsors. We've got A&B Earth Moving, Mole Creek Wind Farm, Inway Toyota, Lowell Holdings Proprietary Limited, and then we've got some bronze sponsors as well. We've got Colin Boyce MP, Elders Insurance, Glenn Kelly NP, Rosalind Wellburn, Risa and Sydney Jones, the Heath family, Total Rural Supplies, and West Insurance Brokers. So without those amazing sponsors, our day would not be able to get off the ground. So we thank them very muchly, and majority of them will be attending to the day, which is going to be special as well. And just, anyone involved within our committee, there is a few of us, but a massive shout out to Melissa, Eden, Tammy, and Raylene, and Miss Titmus, our principal, who's been amazing. She's, this is her first year of being a principal at Stanwell State School, and she's handled the transition of being a principal for the first time at our school, and also coming in to help celebrate 150th is a massive, massive leap. And it's been amazing for her support within this process. And
fantastic.
Everyone else on our committee, there's plenty of other people that are put a lot of effort into it, but they're the main ones that are standing side by side with me at the moment, day to day, organising everything.
No, that's fantastic. Well, I wish you all the success in the world for Saturday, the 8th of August from 10 a.m. 150 years of Stanwell State School. That's no small feat. So very well done to you all, and I hope the day is a roaring success.
Thank you. We hope so too.
That's another episode of Rockhampton with Nyree Johnson. If this story stayed with you, follow the show on Spotify and YouTube so the next one finds you. And if you know someone in our region quietly doing good, someone who belongs in this chair, get in touch through www.nyreejohnson.com.au. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.